Alright, so we are back in Carrier Command 2, and these are the blueprints that we've unlocked from the last island. So it's the first utility island that we took, and this is really useful because we now have fuel tanks for the aircraft. That was one of the things that I was concerned about, that we didn't have the ability to build these, but we are going to build some of these. I think we already have one radar. There also seems to be ground radar, which is useful, so I think all of this stuff we want. So let's see how much we can produce here before we begin the island assault. So this is the utility island. This is everything that... Okay, so this observation, gimbal camera, radar, virus module. All of these are useful. We'll start with the fuel tanks. They're about 50 each, so we may as well just build 10. It's actually not very expensive. And... okay, so we're starting with those. Then what else do we want? The standard radars, they are like 250 each. Detects air and sea vehicles within 10 kilometers. That is really useful. And I guess we just mount that on a vehicle. So let's get like 4 of these. So 4 standard radars, we have 10 fuel tanks. Should we have one more of these as well? Let's get one more. Virus modules, I'll check how many we have. Gimbal cameras, these are useful. Let's just get 10 of these as well, or at least 5. Nah, let's go for 10. That's fine. I just need to put in all of the orders as well. So, how much did we get? Where are utilities? So we are producing one of these. Just one. And the standard radars, we are producing... I need to go and check the amount that I put in there. I've just forgotten. Where are the fuel tanks? We have 10 of these. So 1, 2, 10... Okay, so it's 10 of these, it's 4 standard radars, 1 of these, 10 gimbal cameras. It's 4 of these. Gimbal cameras, we have 10. No, plus 10, there we go. And the rest is all fine. Virus modules, we still have 24. That seems like plenty to me, but let's just build 10 more if they're not too expensive. There's no reason not to. Oh, they are expensive. Let's build 5. So 5 of these as well. It would actually be nice if there was a setting when you build something that it automatically adds it to the orders. That you can just enable and disable somewhere. Because up until now, I've always just wanted to order them anyway. What is going on there? Oh, this is a unit firing? What is it firing at? I have no idea what I'm looking at over there. Oh, I see. It's this albatross that's under attack. Okay, let's bring it back. It's under attack by another albatross, but it's clearly not doing a very good job hitting it, which is good for us. Let's get in closer. Because all our other units are back. And then we'll just keep an eye as always on the pattern. You can actually also check here, so this propulsion screen also tells you when something's about to land, which is good to know. We're going to turn in towards this island, but we do want to be careful about getting too close to this island. So we'll just turn in this direction and block the heading. I could increase my speed by switching off the weapons. We're currently only at about 51, like 50 knots. We can do almost twice that. I guess it's getting into the holding pattern here. We're gonna keep going until it gets closer. So here you can see it says queued, and then that'll change to landing when it is actually landing. Again, this is one of those things that took me an embarrassing amount of time before I actually noticed it. But there's so much going on in this game. Again, this is probably where it is nice to play multiplayer, because then people can focus on stuff, but I feel it is perfectly playable in single player. I just wish they would put even more emphasis as they're developing it to develop the single player, because, and I've said this before as well, but you have a game that takes this long to play, it's unlikely that people are going to be playing cooperatively for such a long period of time. Of course, not impossible, and it does happen. It's just makes it harder than games where it's over within an hour or two. Let's look at where this plane is. I think that's the one I'm spotting off in the distance. I don't think we're actually going that fast. Maybe I should just keep going at like about 50 knots, which is what we were going before. And every now and then I'll do a little bit of an experiment to see if it's actually okay at speed. And I know that it's tough on the open waters if you go too fast, but I think it should be able to handle this. It's been a long time since I lost aircraft because I was moving while it was trying to land. At least we're moving in a fairly predictable way. But if we get a little bit closer here, it means that when they send out aircraft to shoot down our aircraft, we will be able to at least use the carrier's anti-air defenses as well. Okay, so it's coming in. Let's see how the landing goes. Yeah, looks fine. So as soon as that registers as being done, we are going to switch off the weapons to increase our speed a bit. Now we're going up from about 50 to 40, or just over 70 knots. Is that because we're going against the current here? It seems we are. Now, I mentioned in the last episode that I'm going to send out one Razorbill, and it's probably going to be sent to its death because I think there are anti-air units here. But we're going to find out. So we'll just send it off there. Let's look at the distance to the island. Sometimes I use the scope, but you can actually just do this as well. We're about 5,000 meters out. We don't want to be much closer than this. I think we can move into about 4,000 for now. And we probably want to park it there. Okay, so that unit's going down first, then the Razorbill will go out. Thing is, because I'm not sure exactly what we'll encounter on the island, I don't want to get the carrier into striking distance. If there are anti-air units, it'll be good to know where they are so that we can first take them out with cruise missiles, if I still have some of those left. Which I also can't remember. Alright. Let's see. Let's see what our stocks look like. This is coming back. Well, that one... Well, this barge is just over here. It may as well start loading up some of this stuff and bringing it over as well. And then we want to have a look here. Turrets. These are torpedoes, cruise missiles. We still have 21. Yeah, so we can still use these. But then we'll probably need to get the reconnaissance plane up in the air again to figure out where the anti-air units are. Still waiting for this one to come out. Wow, the CCTV is really low resolution, to the point where it's basically impossible to see what's going on. I wonder if that was to save on performance or if that was deliberate, but it seems almost useless the way it looks right now. Okay, I think we have this unit on its way up. Okay, so I will just go straight in and take control of this one. Activate the cannons, and we turn towards the island over there. I want to get my countermeasures ready here so that I can just... Can I put this on auto somehow? Or does it automatically deploy? I've never used the countermeasures myself, and the thing is, as soon as they fire, I'll need to manually deploy those. I'll obviously need to spot it as well. Let's go over to that side. Because these units are close enough together. Altitude's at about 1,300. Now the other question is, we know that the plane that we set up before, or sent up before, was at 1,300, and that didn't get shot down by anti-air, which means that either there isn't anti-air or it couldn't reach it. Although I think that 1,300 should be within reach. Although then of course there's also the distance from the island itself, so... Seeing fire from units there that I haven't tagged, which is always concerning. Okay, so we're gone. That looked like anti-air, but it didn't look like a missile or something. It could be a different kind of anti-air weapon. So we're gonna have to go about this in a different way. I think it's going to be cruise missiles for this one. This is going to be a longer episode than usual for sure. What are our options? We have bombs that won't work for anti-air. Cruise missiles will work. Laser guided missiles will work, but those... I mean, I still need to get aircraft in the air for that and put it at risk. TV guided should work. Then we have all the various turrets. I mean, of course I can send in ground units, but right now they outnumber the number of ground units that I have, so that is not the smart idea. I think we need to get an air reconnaissance unit up and make sure that we keep it high enough that it doesn't get shot down. That's kind of our options here. So we're going to go for this one. Well, now that fuel tanks aren't really an issue anymore, it doesn't matter, so let's just go for the one with the fuel tanks and keep it reasonably wide, like about here. This is actually very wide. This may be too far. Except for on the low end, where we'll get a little bit close to the island here. So we can pretty much produce everything we need right now. I think that, let's see how the enemy is getting on. We've done an okay job of competing in terms of the number of islands. I know that it's nearly impossible to keep up with the AI because I don't think they really have to do supply chain management. They can just go to every island and start taking stuff over. But it's not really about that. It's about making sure that we've got enough supplies that when we engage the enemy carrier, we can take that out. And I'll still need to figure out how I'm actually going to do that, because I have no idea. It's got every type of defense. I don't know if it has the blind spots that the swordfish do have. So if it does, I mean, obviously that'll help. But we are getting to a point where we can consider going up there and taking on the enemy carrier if we can figure out We'll then need to sort of start keeping track of which islands it's been taking over and go towards the latest one it has and try to find it. But we can also have a look and see what else we may need before we do that. Yeah. Alright, so is this aircraft almost... yeah, it's airborne, so... take control of the camera here. Which side is the island? Is that us? No, that's one of the barges. That's us. It's still a little bit low on the altitude here. Is that because I didn't adjust it? I did not. Okay, that wasn't smart. We're gonna go actually a little bit closer here, increase the altitude. Not just because it's safer, but also because that'll make it easier for us to target stuff. Let's go into 2 kilometers, at least in terms of the zoom. It's a balance of keeping it close enough that you can actually do something useful with it, versus putting it in danger. And where it is right now, I might be putting it in danger, I'm not sure, but okay, and then we need to start taking out units. Did I tag these? It could just be that they're a little bit too far away. So, carrier missile, let's fire one of these. It doesn't have power. Because I switched off all of the weapons, of course. Now it should have power. We can disable the torpedoes for now. Keep cruise missiles on, keep the main gun on. Okay, we want to target something here that we can actually keep on tracking. And where we can potentially get multiple hits. So that's a walrus. Now, I've asked in the past, like, what does the second layer of information give you? Okay, it does say it's got a gun. So this is where we can see which ones are the anti-air units, and that's what we should be doing right now. That's also just a gun. So technically, these are not the ones that I should be taking out. I should be taking out units with anti-air capabilities. Let's see what these guys have. The other question, of course, is which units can... That's AA. Okay, so this is what we should be doing. Figuring out which ones have AA and taking them out. It's unfortunate these guys have just gone into the water, because that might make it impossible for me to actually take him out using a cruise missile. So we're about to find out. Is it driving out of the water again, or is that still water? Can't tell. Wow, that's another problem that I didn't think about. You can't actually use cruise missiles to take those out. So how do you take out anti-air units? Do you have to send ground units then? Or artillery? Can we build artillery? That may be another option. So we know if something's a walrus, then it has the capability of carrying anti-air. Oh, if you're closer, that scans a lot faster. I didn't know that either. So let's just zoom in all the way here. See what we've got. It's walrus. That's not a walrus, so I don't need to worry. I don't think that can carry anti-air. That one either. So that's more anti-air. That's a bear, which I think can carry anti-air. but it's not in this case. That one's fine. Another walrus. That's also got anti-air. I thought it was going to be as simple as just using cruise missiles to pick off all of these anti-air units, but I guess it makes sense that that won't work. Why can't I tag? Is that unit just out of range? It seems to be the case. There's in fact so many anti-air units here that I don't know how much sense it actually makes to... Not sure if you can hear that, that's thunder and not in Carrier Command 2. Anyway, so I was saying I'm not sure how much sense it makes to tag all of these anti-air units because there's so many. Oh, that one actually carries a missile. Now, on the plus side, I should be able to take this out of a cruise missile. This is really dangerous because, at least to my air units. And then the anti-air units I can try to take out with artillery if I do have that. Is this moving? It does seem to be. You can just cancel your support for the missile, in which case it will hit the last location that you were pointing at, but unfortunately most of these units do move, so that's not really an option. But this is also where the single player becomes less viable, is on these higher shield islands, because I can only imagine what it's like on even tougher islands. And it's not a case of not being able to do it, it's just that it would be so much faster if you had more players, because then I don't have to stare at the screen, I can actually go and do other things at the same time. Okay, let's see what happens here. Missile is still intact. I think this thing has had it. Yeah, okay, so at least we got rid of that missile. I'm glad that I sent up this Albatross with the extra fuel tanks. Let's see if we can sort out artillery. So what do we have? This is Walrus, and it has... That's an anti-air turret. It's a normal turret. This is a missile launcher. It doesn't help me much. Observation camera and radar. Can I put radar on any unit? Let's see. The seal. Yeah, I can. So I'm going to use radar. Probably want to put it on one of the seals because those are faster in the water. We'll make this my radar unit then. Put some radar here. Should we give it a camera or something as well? Let's do that. Okay, then we don't have anti-air. Sorry, not anti-air, artillery. Because that reduces my options to either using the carrier gun, which is what I'm going to do right now. Then we also need... The artillery must either be the 100mm or 120mm shells. And we have ammunition of both of those, so it's not the ammo that's the problem. But where's the cannon? Oh, this is a 100mm battle cannon, and the 120mm is the artillery gun, which we don't have. This is what we need to produce. How do we produce that? Well, these are the only islands that can produce turrets. And we can produce artillery guns. That's great. So... Oh, and we have the heavy cannons as well. What do we mount those on? How much are these? 750. They're not cheap. So let's build like 3 of these. 3 artillery guns. And let's build 3 heavy cannons as well. It's a lot of our money, but should be worth it. 3 of these, 3 of these, and then send a barge to go and collect it. If any of our barges are free, this one seems to be free. So it can just head over here and pick these up for us. Assuming they'd be produced by the time it actually gets there. And while we wait for that, we're going to see if we can use the carrier gun here to clean up some of this island. This is where it may be useful that we've already ID'd most of the targets that we want to take out. Not all of them, of course. That's not a bear. There's a walrus. Okay, we're having trouble IDing those. Let me switch the weapon here. No, sorry, that's not what I want to do. Cycle weapon to carrier gun. The question is also going to be, is this like in range of the carrier? But I'm definitely not wasting that ammunition on anything other than artillery. Okay, that's AA and it's just coming out. Let's see if we can... Oh, it's out of range. You can try to bring the carrier a little bit closer. This has got AA. If this is going to be one of the solutions to this problem, I need to create more of this ammunition as well. Okay, perfect. This is a good solution. This is a good reason to use the carrier gun, really. That has a normal gun, don't care about that unit. That's got AA, we need to get rid of that. Sending aircraft up against these units is definitely not an option. Something else that I can try is maybe bombing runs. The last time I tried that, it completely failed, and I did see an explanation of how that works. So I may just need to practice throwing bombs as well. See if I can build some bigger bombs also. Still a lot of stuff that I haven't tried in this game. By the way, I do intend at some point to put together my own tips and tricks video just based on this entire playthrough. So I've been taking notes between recordings just on useful stuff that I've learned, and I'll be sharing all of that at some point. Okay, now I'm too far away from that. What's over here? It's just the normal guns. Question is also, how close can I actually bring the carrier before these units are going to start firing at it? Where is the carrier? It's over there. I think those units are actually trying to head over there. Let's see if we have any aircraft we can use for bombing runs. Oh, I actually obviously lost one of these. I have 2 more Albatross aircraft. I don't think that's going to be particularly effective. That can't carry a whole lot of bombs, that's the problem. So I may still just be better off using the carrier gun. Let's produce some more ammunition for the carrier gun as well. Well, first things first, let's see how much we have left. We go all the way up here. 85. That's actually quite a bit. But we're going to build as much as we can, because this is definitely something that's useful to have. On the wrong munitions production. Oh, it's over here. Actually, yeah, so this is one of the problems. We need to capture another small munitions island, because right now, even though we've built the artillery cannons and even though we have ammo, we have limited ammo for that. And that will eventually become an issue as well. So 10 of these is 500. Man, these are really expensive. We are going to build another 20. That's why it's not the best option. Okay, so this barge has finished its earlier delivery. It's going to go and pick up more here, more over here, then here, and back. But then this is more. Okay, so that's got the 100 mil. This one's got 100 and 120. So ideally, this is the island that I should be capturing. It's nowhere close to where I am right now, but probably the closest one that'll get me both of those. And see how heavily defended it is. That's a 3-shield island that's right next to 4-shield. This is not going to be easy to take. The other option is, well, it is the artillery that we're looking for, it's not the heavy cannon, so we will have to take this out, which is going to get us very close to 4-shield, and 4-shield is the highest tier islands that you get in the game. So this will be a real battle to take this, and strategically it will be really useful. Before we even get to that, we will probably try to take these islands as well, because they're kind of in the way. At least one of them. I think at least Somnus we should take. And then we can make our way over to Igneous, but we will encounter what I'm assuming is just going to be like a whole fleet that's going to be around traffic. Now I've said this before, I'm treating this as an Iron Man run, and it's possible that as we start pushing up towards this, that's where this will end, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's see what else we can hit here if I bring in the carrier a little bit. Why is this giving me the fuel warning? I want to get in a little bit closer with the carrier still. So we'll just keep moving forward until we have... So what's the distance we have right now? The front of the carrier is about 2,600 meters out. And from here it's about almost 4,000. So we should be close enough now to hit stuff anywhere on this island, I would think. So let's stop it again. There is a certain point where stuff is just going to start coming out towards the carrier and firing out on us. Actually, before I continue with this, since it seems pretty clear that we're going to have to send out another Albatross, wrong screen, this is the one. We want to change the loadout here and give this one fuel tanks as well. If I already have some of those delivered. Yes. Okay, so more external fuel tanks. That'll allow this one to be a scout craft as well. And we're already going to send that out. Is that already fully loaded? That's interesting. I didn't know it could happen that quickly. So send that up. Same altitude. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll get in even a little bit closer still, because the other one seems to be fine where it is right now. While we wait for that, we can continue here. So still using the carrier gun. That one I'm not too worried about. What else do we have here? That's normal gun. Okay, that's anti-air, but it's out of range. That's strange though, because I think that the range on that cannon is 6,000. Well, the good news is, if I send ground units to take out the anti-air units, at least they can't engage my ground units. But there's still enough activity going on around this island that I have to worry about other units coming out to them and taking them out. So Now, as you've just seen, this ammunition is so expensive that I just can't really use it to mop up random units on the island. Where did all of the units go? I've no idea, like, why does this island look so empty now? We had so many... It's really strange. I'm so tempted to just fire at these guys. What's over there? That's a turret. Let's just take that out. If this lands close enough, it should take out this unit as well, so it might be worth it. So when I said that turrets can only spawn in certain locations, clearly that's not the case. It can spawn anywhere. What do we have over here? I'm just going to take these out as well. I know it's also out of range. Well, if this doesn't have anti-air on it, that's just a gun. That's also just a gun, so we are going to cycle to missiles. And that's what we'll use here. They appear to be stationary, so I think we can just cancel the support and it'll eventually hit it. What do we have here? That's a gun, that's also a gun. Another cruise missile for these. I'm thinking about a ground assault now, so if I can clean up enough of these units. The only problem is all of these are the sort of heavier units in terms of armor and so on, and I don't have all those bigger guns, so I'm still sending in seals. And those will get torn to pieces by these bigger units. These are also stationary, but I don't think they're going to stay in that spot. They do seem to be moving around a bit. So I have to keep guiding it. I think we might miss the units at the rear. Like, I'll try to guide this. Oh no. So there was an anti-air unit on this side. It's sort of ruined any chance. Oh, there it is. Is that an anti-air turret? No, I didn't want it to fire another one. Yeah, that is an anti-air turret. Switch back to the gun. At least that's that one taken care of. Let's see what the seal's got on it, but I mean it's... Ah, that's interesting. So seals can have anti-air guns as well. I didn't know that. So then you could just put an anti-air gun on anything. And hopefully we'll get rid of this one if it can just get out of that water, which it hasn't, so no splash damage, so no kill. Oh, is that our... That's the other albatross. Oh, this is such a cool shot. Might use this for the thumbnail. But, yeah, it means we can get this one back onto the ship. So So I think what I'm going to do is, because I don't want to make these videos boring, I'm going to spend some time just off screen or off recording figuring out some of these logistics and making sure that I've got all the right weapons and equipment and stuff in place. And then we'll do sort of part 2 or the next episode where I can take out Serrano. But yeah, I mean, clearly you need combined arms for these. So I'm going to go ahead and end this one here, and I'll be back for the next episode, and hopefully then we can finish the job here. And that's definitely going to get us into the more interesting parts of this as we get into the tougher islands. But as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you for the next video.